What's up, it's Cinema Shogun here, and it appears as if there are some new twists and turns in the Evan Cockerham story. If you're unfamiliar with who Evan Cockerham is, or the story surrounding him, I suggest that you watch my last video. Evan's family personally cleared up some of the details surrounding his mysterious disappearance for me, and hopefully I do a good enough job in that video clearing up some of the details surrounding his mysterious disappearance for you all. Now, as I reported to you all, Evan's vehicle was located, but Evan is still nowhere to be found. I believe it was December 16th. On December 16th, law enforcement was able to locate his vehicle. It was abandoned in a shady part of downtown LA, and it was impounded. But like I said, Evan, nowhere to be found. They found a lot of wires and electronic devices in the car. I believe Evan's bags were still in the car. And Evan was someone who traveled with not many belongings. So, his family believes that a lot of the belongings that were found in the vehicle don't belong to Evan. Now, a private investigator by the name of SF Investigates, you may have heard of him, you may have not. You can go follow him on Twitter. I do not think he has a YouTube channel. He's been helping this family as well. And yesterday, I believe, he was able to go look through Evan's vehicle. Now, I do not know why law enforcement has not found this stuff. I don't know if they even looked through Evan's vehicle. I'll have to speak with FS Investigates personally to find out those details. But it appears right now, I haven't talked to him to clear this up, but it appears to me that law enforcement didn't really even search through this car, because SF Investigates was able to yesterday, and he found a lot of interesting evidence. Now, we know that Evan was last seen on December 6th. He was last spoken to on December 6th. His vehicle was found abandoned December 16th, 10 days later. Well, SF Investigates searched through this vehicle and was able to find this receipt. And the date on this receipt is, I believe, December 15th. Now, in case you're unfamiliar with Evan's story, at first everyone thought that Evan was carjacked for his vehicle and held captive. Now, he kind of was, but maybe not in the way you're thinking. Evan is a really nice, kind-hearted young man that I don't think he's used to the city life. I don't think he understands how mean and evil the world can be. You know what I'm saying? I think he's kind of naive to how bad people can be. You know what I mean? So someone asked Evan to help them find their dog. Evan's like, come on into the vehicle to go find that guy's dog. Next thing you know, the situation turns sour. The dude kind of takes over Evan's vehicle. I'm not so sure if it was necessarily by force or by intimidation, but Evan's riding around with this guy for days on end. Evan finally gets away. Evan calls his mom, gives her all of this information, tells her, you know what, I'm about to go meditate and decompress on the beach. So it's unclear if this receipt really belongs to Evan. Just because this receipt was found does not mean it belongs to Evan. In fact, Evan already reported to his mother that his vehicle was basically taken over before December 15th. But there's been a lot of confusion, and even myself, I was kind of skeptical about the story. I didn't know if maybe Evan was calling home, just giving, some type of story to his family that was different than what was really going on in his life. Because the story sounded weird, but it makes a lot more sense now that I've gotten more details and I understand the type of person that Evan is. So I'm not sure who this receipt belongs to. Now, of course, they know where this receipt came from. And I believe today there's work going on behind the scenes to see if they could find the security footage from this store to see if it was Evan who made this purchase or someone else. But that was not the only piece of evidence found in this vehicle. Now, when I first brought you all the story of Evan Cockerham, a lot of people doubted it. And like I said, I was skeptical myself. this talk of this guy who basically took over Evan's vehicle. Well, SF Investigates was also able to find a driver's license belonging to a 21-year-old male. Now, the picture's blocked out, the name's blocked out. I'm sure that SF Investigates, as well as I'm sure he's gotten investigators from LAPD in on this now as well. I'm sure now, well, hopefully now they're following up leads with this. But this ID has been found, which even in the most skeptical person's eyes, this adds a lot of credit to the story that Evan gave his family. Who is this 21-year-old male? Why is his ID being found in a car that does not belong to him, let alone a car that belongs to someone else who no one can find? Like I said, I'm sure we will get more details about this soon. But right now, that's where we're at. But there's also one more thing found. A cell phone. Now, last time I checked, Evan Cockerham's mother was asking him if she needed her to send him an old iPhone to use. Evan Cockerham, from what I've heard of him, obviously I don't know him, he doesn't sound like your average run-of-the-mill 21-year-old guy. You know, the young folks these days are so wrapped up in social media, they're on their cell phones 24/7. So am I. But Evan was like more in touch with nature. Evan wasn't the social media type. Evan didn't have to post on Instagram every day. Evan didn't need the likes. Evan had a whole different vibe about him. I don't believe this phone belongs to Evan. The ID obviously does not belong to Evan. The receipt probably doesn't belong to Evan. I don't know where Evan is right now. Like I've said, I have confidence that he is okay, and I'm hoping that he is okay. But whoever that ID and that phone belongs to holds a lot of the answers to the questions that we're asking. And I hope and I pray that they get to the bottom of it. Now, as more updates come in, I will be right here to tell you all. I'm sure we're going to be getting some updates soon. I believe there will be a Twitter Spaces later tonight, although I cannot remember the time off the top of my head. But if you're not on Twitter, follow me on Twitter and check that Spaces out later for that information. And whatever information is relayed there, if anything new comes out there, I'll be sure to report it to you all here. But for now, I can't help but just wait, I guess, just wait in anticipation to find out, because this is a lot. You might say, oh, an ID, a receipt, a cell phone. It's like bingo. This is like, I don't even know how to explain the magnitude. You know what I mean? Like, this is big. This is, I believe, possibly one of the keys to finding out what happened to Evan and where the hell Evan is. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.